It's no stretch by any means to say Astroworld propelled Travis Scott into an entirely new echelon of success. It took his name from Kanye's protege to certified star, and it multiplied his fan base tenfold. While the album did numbers, Travis was in the driver's seat, making sure he seizes every millisecond of the limelight. Scott was the glue to it all. He did everything he could to capitalize on the hype and rode his self-propelled wave into utopia. Before Astroworld, people got Travis confused with A$AP Rocky. After Astroworld, he was a phenom. Or at least, that's what McDonald's thought when they gave him his own signature meal. The only other person to receive that honor was Michael Jordan in 1992, fresh off of a back-to-back NBA championship. This is international superstar territory. The meal was an iconic legacy move, and also another spot in the growing list of fruitful business ventures done by Mr. Scott. The chicken nugget body pillow may have been over the top, but it certified his hype. Oh yeah, and his net worth today sits at 5 times what A$AP Rocky's is. Just check the history. You attach Travis's name to it, and it will sell. But it's only through Astroworld Scott was able to make a pillow hold a $700 resale value. At its height, Astroworld couldn't be ignored. It was an album that when it arrived, you felt it. You saw it. You couldn't avoid it. Nicki Minaj definitely couldn't. Collectively, Astroworld has garnered a documentary, a festival, a chain, a record-breaking smash hit, and loads of cultural impact. Once Astroworld hit the scene, it sort of took on a life of its own, and the ball is still rolling to this day. I mean, I'm here making a video about it 2.5 years later. It was a colossal work done by Scott and his team. For the music itself, the album was one of those rare situations where the album's quality matched the hype it received. That's a tall task for an album that's been marinating in hype for 2 whole years. Astroworld has been a hot topic of discussion since he announced it in May of 2016.
The name of my new album after version of Travis Scott is now called Astroworld.
Mind you, this was before he even released its predecessor, Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. It sold 537,000 units first week, but it also held its own, notching spots in every best albums list of 2018 I could find. A monstrous feat, but it was only the starting point for his multi-year push to take Astroworld into the stratosphere. After a several-year wait and the hype ever growing and growing, Travis Scott delivered. Not only did he deliver on the music end, but he used that music as a foundation to build so much more. While we wait for Travis's next album, I just wanted to reflect on what an experience Astroworld truly was. So how did he do it? How did he turn some songs into a bona fide event? The short answer would be he went all out in all album-related affairs. The tours, the merchandise, the performances. At its core, Astroworld's purpose was to serve as a substitute for its namesake, an old Six Flags amusement park in Houston that got torn down to make space for apartments when Travis was just 13. This shift rocked his world and set him on a journey to bring back the fun to his city through his collection of 17 songs. The album rollout began with a scheme sure to draw attention and put all eyes on Scott. I mean, honestly, it's just plain hard to ignore a 40-foot golden head on top of a building. Travis cemented himself as a rager and integrated his style into every aspect all throughout the wild ride that was Astroworld. He showed us exactly why he named his tour You Wish You Were Here. It's been over 2 years since I went to one of his live performances, and I still wish I was there. Travis created an energetic atmosphere with tricks up his sleeve at every turn. In the grand scheme, all conditions were right to have sensational live shows. You had music that was created to be blasted at full volume in a stadium. Travis's psychedelic style mixed with trap was sure to turn his audience into a mosh pit. You had a crowd full of devoted young fans just itching to have a good time on a night that would replay in their minds for decades. And you had Travis Scott, a pioneer in the performance department who was bursting with ideas to take his music to the next level. With his energy alone, he could captivate an audience. With the help of some pyrotechnics, he would absolutely astonish them. In Travis's last go-around in the live show rodeo, he mounted himself on a mechanical flying bird and spread his wings to fly over a passionate crowd. Astonishing as it is, Travis only upped the ante from here. Plain and simple, there's just no show like Astroworld. In my own visit, Scott brought a new trick out the bag every 15 minutes or so. He began the show by casually running out on stage engulfed in smoke while deafening fireworks filled the air in front of me. Just regular LaFlame activities. Next, he hopped on his infinity loop roller coaster and proceeded to perform upside down. Then, he used an underground tunnel, switched to the other main stage where he performed a couple of older hits like Skyfall and Mamacita. Next, he brought down a curtain to project images paying homage to DJ Screw while performing his song dedicated to him. For his last festivity, he brought down the overhead rafters and had a roller coaster cart installed on it to ride over his fans. It's safe to say I left in an Astroworld shirt drenched in sweat and out of breath. An Astroworld show was to die for. Scott was known to connect with his crowd and even got arrested for inciting a riot after telling his fans to rush the stage. And this was just Astroworld, a show designed to be a spectacle, but limited by time constraints of the venues and quick transportation of props. You can't really fit a 30-foot loop-de-loop in your back pocket. But imagine the limitations of both time and transport being removed. Welcome to Astrofest, Travis Scott's annual Rage Festival. Astrofest was his playground where his ideas could roam free on an open canvas. Wall to wall, he stuffed Houston's NRG Park with just about anything he could. The location itself was right by the original theme park site. There was a carousel, a full-size drop tower, a basketball court, and an all-star studded music festival featuring the likes of Young Thug, Post Malone, Lil Wayne, and of course, the man himself. Astrofest transcended music and refused to be boxed in as just an ordinary festival. Astrofest was a visual representation of Scott's passions. Travis took this opportunity to pay respect to the city that made him. He captured the heart and soul of the Texas rap scene, donning massive portraits of the OGs that paved the ground he stands on. He bridged the gap between ages and brought out the Houston All-Stars, a lineup consisting of his hometown heroes he idolized growing up, like Bun B and Paul Wall. Astrofest was a culmination of what Travis learned throughout his journey that he brought back home to Houston, Texas, to showcase for all. To further push the career-defining album, Scott performed on the grandest stage America has to offer, the Super Bowl. Controversy or not, this right here is astronomical. Speaking of that, all these live shows are fun and all, but what if you couldn't be there? Well, Trav thought of that too with a colossal takeover on Fortnite in the early days of quarantine. Astronomical. An entirely free of charge online performance for all to witness. Global pandemic or not, Travis was going to deliver a good time. Again, another situation Travis had creative control, but this time wasn't even limited to a stage or the laws of physics. It's an electrifying performance full of colors and sure to cause at least one seizure. Right alongside the performance was the addition of his own line of emotes, outfits, and loading screens, ensuring you wouldn't forget his name or this album for years to come. Outside of the music, we saw a new side of Travis through his all-star relationship. We watched him conquer fatherhood as he welcomed a daughter into this world. This may not have been directly related to the music, but it added to the moment and gave him a more wholesome image. He was a man who could go out and set a crowd on fire, but once he left, he was back caring for his young one at home. A couple years have passed since the album's release, but we're still witnessing the waves of Astroworld right in front of us. Not too long ago, the lead single from the album went diamond, a feat only 44 songs have ever been able to accomplish in all 68 years of the RIAA's existence. So in the end, what made Astroworld an experience? Surely it was the astonishing live performances that kept his name buzzing, or the merch everyone was dying to get their hands on. But to me, it was how Travis brought joy and excitement to all who followed along. Travis Scott mastered clout and became the embodiment of fun through a long string of calculated moves, all with the goal of promoting the album. When he set out on this journey, I wonder if he knew what this album would do for him. If he knew this was his stepping stone to conquer the rap game and become a Mo City legend. If he knew by making an album about some roller coasters and kiddie rides, he changed everything for himself. As we wait for Utopia, remember the foundation Astroworld laid out for it. Congrats, you made it to the end of the video. If you can bear with me this long, you'll probably like whatever video of mine the YouTube algorithm is recommending for you on your screen now. It's a banger, B. Subscribe, like, and comment so the channel can grow and be easy.